Hello everyone. I thought today we would talk about um, something authentic, because it is my belief, and I thankfully have people around me who have helped me to see the truth of that what people need maybe the most right now, or at least a lot, is authenticity. And today I want to talk about doubts and limiting beliefs. This is going to be more from the perspective of an actor, but I suppose everyone deals with that in different ways. And I am kind of, I consider myself an optimistic person, but that doesn't mean that I don't have doubts. And that doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I'm like, where is this all going? Is this going anywhere at all? Or is it just a waste of time? Now, I don't actually believe that, acting or practicing acting or being in the acting career is a waste of time. For me, it isn't, because I'm enjoying this. Like, anything that comes my way, I really am genuinely enjoying. But I still have moments where I'm like, is this going anywhere? And of course, like, we all have different definitions of what going anywhere is, right? And what success is. For me, what would be success for me? I think that it would be if I could genuinely live from this, if this could be my livelihood. Like, if I feel that I would probably be perfectly happy if my livelihood was just, physical acting and voice acting. I could just do different projects at different times. I figured out that an office job is not for me. Like, I greatly appreciate people who do office jobs, but I just know that it's not for me, and I feel like I've kind of always known that about myself. And if it's interesting, if anyone out there is into something called human design, which is something that I found out about recently, actually, so I'm no expert on this. Don't ask me what this is, but it's just one of these self-help things again, like astrology and tarot, and it's kind of in the same area, basically. But anyway, I was looking up my human design chart, and I discovered that actually, not being in an office job, not doing a 9 to 5, and actually having a lot of freedom to decide over my hours and over my time is perfect for me. It's how I function best, even though that's kind of hard to follow in our society. Anyway, so that's not for me. And I would be perfectly happy if I could just, this would be my livelihood. But even though this year actually has been better for me than many others, probably better, actually, in terms of work than all of the other years combined. Like, I have had more work, more regular work, and it's been great. And I have actually been enjoying myself. But I still have doubts, and I still have limiting beliefs, because I believe that we all do. And I'm trying not to get the sun in my face here. Let's just get into it, honestly and openly. So, like, one of my limiting beliefs, and there's a couple of them, and I know that a belief is just a thought that you keep on thinking, right? So beliefs are something that we can change. And so that's something that I am working on for myself, because obviously these don't feel comfortable for me to think. But I still, I want to acknowledge that they are there so that I can work on them in the first place. So one of them for me, as an actor, is that I have just always thought that I look too different. I look too different for this profession. I mean, in voiceover, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I look like, so that's great. But voiceover is not the only thing I want to do. So that's the only, problem with that. Because, I've just always looked at other actors and, I mean, if you put a lot of actors into a room together, like how many of them are gonna stand out, as they are with their, normal everyday looks? Like how many would you pick out easily out of a crowd? And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're somebody out there who's watching this, an actor, and you're like, oh my God, you're calling me basic. I'm not calling you basic. I'm trying to say that this is actually a good thing in an acting career, because obviously you want to play lots of different people, right? And like most people, they don't look like this, so it's great in this profession to look normal, for lack of a better word. But that is one of my limiting beliefs, is that I look too different. And of course you could just be like, well, just dye your hair, get rid of your piercings, get a normal haircut, and I don't know, maybe dress in something different, and then you too will be normal. But at the same time, I am like, I couldn't even do that, because I don't look like this because I'm trying so hard to look like this. I have more or less throughout my life looked like this, like obviously not exactly like this, but like different versions of different, I guess. Okay, I don't know what word to use for it. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm so different, guys. It's not like that. I'm just trying to, I think you understand what I mean, right? So I've looked different in different versions of that in like throughout my life. And that's because that's just me. It's just the way that I am. If I go to the store and I pick out the clothes that I pick out, or my hair looks like this or whatever, it's because those are the things that I like. Those are the things that appeal to me. Like, same as if you would go to the store and you pick out what you like, but you're not really there thinking, well, why am I picking these things instead of these other things? You just pick out what you like because you like these things, and there's no rhyme or reason for that, like logically thinking. Why would I pick out these things? Why would my hair be blue? Why would I have stripes in my haircut? Because I like these things. And why do I like these things? Don't fucking know, man. I just like them. And I wouldn't, like, if you were to come to me and be like, okay, like, Kelly, make yourself look normal, I don't know that I would be able to. Because it reminds me of this YouTuber called Black Friday. If you don't know her, she's like a woman, I think in her 40s or something, and she is goth, like full goth every day. And that's awesome. But my point is that she has tried this as a challenge a few times to make herself look normal, and she has failed miserably, and it's been really funny. And she knows that too, that she has failed, but it's just because that's her. Like, the goth thing, that's her. And she doesn't know how to be any different, so when she tries, it just, I don't know, comes off like goofy and funny and not really what she was like trying to go for. And she knows that. So I feel it would be the same for me. Like if I try to make myself look normal, just wouldn't be able to do it. Or another thing that's also possible, I do kind of manage to do it, but there's still gonna be something different about me. So it doesn't even matter, like I could wear normal clothes and stuff, and I would still, there would still be something different about me, because I think it's also my energy in some type of way. And it's always been like this throughout my whole life. But you don't really see actors that look like this on a daily. Like they do this stuff for a movie. You can imagine, right? Somebody would change their, natural appearance to look like this for a role. I'm thinking, something like, I don't know, the girl with the dragon tattoo. It's just so funny. Like, I would look at that and I would think, bitch, I am the girl with the dragon tattoo. Except that I don't have a dragon tattoo. It's kind of like all my looks and stuff, like my everyday looks, the me that is most me, is from that category as the girl with the dragon tattoo. And you just don't see actors like that very often, do you? And then, so that becomes then my limiting belief that you can't look like this in this career. You have to look normal so that you can do normal roles. But then I fight that belief in my own head, and I'm like, well, if they can make actors look like this for a role, why can't you make me look normal for a role? That should be possible too, then the other way around. And maybe they can, I don't know. I just don't have the on-screen experience to tell you if this is like actually an issue or if this is just a thing in my own head. And then the third thing I have with this is just, okay, well, maybe there aren't that many actors out there who look like this, but maybe you're just supposed to be the first one then that does. And I don't know if there's anyone out there that cares about like life path numbers. If you've ever looked into that, that's another very interesting thing to look into for self-help purposes and for knowing yourself better. I am life path number 1, and for a really long time, for a really long time that made absolutely zero sense to me. I was like, how can I be life path number 1? Because if you look it up, the description for life path number 1 is something like, these are inventors and these are leaders and that type of people. And I would be like, what? I'm not a leader. Okay, I don't want to lead anything. I kind of do my own thing. So that made no sense to me. I was like, what leader? Like, I couldn't understand. But now, I don't know, maybe it does make sense, because it's just, I can't be whatever the standard is in anything. My things, for some reason, are always somehow different, and they always have been. I don't know why that is. I was just born like that, and it's just me. So I don't know, maybe I am just supposed to be one of these actors that looks like this in everyday life, and it's actually okay, but I'm still trying to come to terms with that, because that is not what you generally see out there. And I couldn't, because for a while I was like, okay, so let me just change my appearance then. Maybe I should do that in order to be in this career, in order to be an actor. But I can't do that, because that's not me. Because then I am fake. I'm false then, if I do that, and if I even knew how to do that in the first place. And I can't be that either. Like, I have to be me. And that's another thing for me, is this authenticity thing. It's very hard to be yourself. And it's very hard to tell people, no, you're not going to do something because it doesn't align with who you are or what your values are. All that is very hard. But like, I can't go back. I have decided to be me. Like, fully, and like whatever there is, there is. At least I'm being me. And if somebody doesn't like that, then that's okay. I don't even like everybody, you know? Regardless of if they are being themselves or not. That's fine. People are allowed to not like you. But it's still hard. Because there's so much pressure to be something other than what you are. And this is kind of what this limiting belief has been fed by. That I need to change myself somehow so that I could fit this neat category of what an actor is. I can't do that. I have to be like this. And I can't compromise on that either, because then I would not be me. So you see the problem, I guess. I've been going on about that for a really long time now, but I just wanted to, paint you the full picture of what it is and why that is, and maybe someone out there can relate. And then there's lots of other fun limiting beliefs, like I'm too far away, from any acting hub. In Estonia, I mean, I would like to be in some Estonian movies or maybe some Estonian TV series. I would go if there was a chance to do that. But I do still feel like I don't really, and maybe someone out there can relate to this as well, that you don't feel that kind of connection with your own homeland. Like, I love Estonia, like, don't get me wrong, and I've been away from it enough to like love it even more and to figure out what Estonia means to me. I'm not talking about like not loving my homeland. I do love it. But in terms of acting, I don't know, I don't feel connected, and I never have. And it feels like my path with acting is not here necessarily, and I can't explain that either. If you ask me what the fuck does that mean, I don't know. It has just always felt that way. I've always been in connection with people from all over the world one way or another, and that's just, I feel like my acting future or whatever is somewhere else. But then that also makes me feel like I'm so far away from these places, and how can I get there? And it would cost so much money that I don't have to get to these places. And it's kind of like, even if somebody from like really far away would like want me for something, and even if they're really sure about it, if they're like, no, I want you, it's got to be you. Well, firstly, I would be like, how in the world am I going to get there, though? I would come like with the next plane, if traveling was that easy and didn't involve all this other stuff. I would come. I'm available. Let's do it. But it's just, are you going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for that? And then there's another factor to this that is like, okay, you want me, but are you sure about this? Why are you so sure about this? Because my first response always, like when I get any role, it's less so in voiceover for some reason. Maybe because I'm more practiced in voiceover. So that could easily be why I'm not so freaked out when I get a role in voiceover. But in anything else, my first reaction is to feel terrified of it, which in a way I think is good, because I do think enacting the roles that you do should terrify you in some way, because then they are like a challenge for you to figure out. It's like a good challenge. Not one that's like, ugh, like I hate this, I wish I didn't get this, you know? That's not what I mean when I say challenge. I just mean something for your brain to be, stimulated by and to figure it out. And I think that that is very rewarding when you do. But my first response is to be terrified of it, which is good and bad. But I do get over that. I do still do the role and everything. But even if someone is like that sure about me, and even if they, want to go through this whole things to get me there wherever they want to shoot that thing, I'm like, damn, you really got to be really sure that it's me. And for me, that brings up a lot of fears too, because now I'm like, oh, so-and-so really thinks that it's me that should do this, and they have so much faith in me, and they have so much belief in me, which is great. But it's also scary, Someone's putting that much trust in you, and someone's putting that much faith in you that you are able to accomplish this thing that they want. It is a little scary. But yeah, overall, the limiting belief is just, I'm too far away from these places. But again, it's only a thought that I keep thinking. So I will eventually find other thoughts to think and make those into beliefs that are more helpful for me. And after all, there are actors who are from, different countries, but they work in a different country now. And they got there. And they're able to do it, so that's that. And then there's the whole, I'm doing this wrong somehow, because if you don't know, I did try to get into drama school and I didn't get in. And I know a lot of people try several times, like that's nothing out of the, that's not really unusual for people to try several times. But I didn't try several times because, first of all, you have to wait such a long period between when you get to try again for school. Like, it's several years. And I was also quite old. I mean, I'm not old, but in terms of like acting in Estonia, I think they're a little ageist here. I was like 25 already, but they want you to go when you're straight out of high school. So then I would have been even older if I were to try again. And my life just started going in a different direction, and like things were kind of working out in that direction. And thirdly, since I am a person that, like, I try to follow my intuition to the best of my ability, my own gut feeling, I really, really try to do that, and I practice doing that, and I practice paying attention to what my gut is telling me. And, the first time that I auditioned, I really had that feeling that I should try out for this, because even if I don't get in, at least I have an experience. And I'm still glad that I tried out anyway. But I never got that feeling again. My intuition never told me again, oh, try for this again this year. I was not aligned with that anymore at that point after I had tried it. And that's not to say that people shouldn't try again. I know that they have. Some people try, like, I don't know, three times, and then on the third time they actually make it. I think Diane Morgan, if you are familiar with Philomena Kunk, she plays that character. If I remember correctly, she tried 3 times. And I mean, if you look at her now, and the characters that she has done, like Mandy and Philomena Kunk, and I'm sure there are other ones, these are just the ones that I can think of at the top of my head right now. You look at that, And you look at her acting and you just kind of go, why would anybody say no to her? Because, she is so talented. She's so good. Like, she's very good at this. And it's like it doesn't compute. Why would anybody say no to that person? She tried 3 times to get in, and then finally she did. So that's just another path. But personally, I did not feel aligned with trying again. So I didn't, and I don't regret it. I actually don't. Even though I did want to be taught by all of these professors, and I did want to get all of that knowledge, I have now figured out that I seem to be kind of more of a find my own way kind of person in many things, which doesn't mean that I don't want to learn from others. Of course I do, and I do think that that is important. But I do still have to find my own way with things. And I guess that goes back to life path number 1. Have to invent my own ways of doing things. Can't just walk down the beaten path. And even when I have tried, like with other things in my life that have nothing to do with acting, throughout my whole life, I just can't seem to walk down the beaten path. The path is there, and I have tried, and it just doesn't work out for me the way that it works out for other people. And I have had a lot of grief in my life over this. I've basically had to grieve the fact that my life is not turning out the way that I had planned or pictured or whatever. That my life is not turning out normal, so to speak. I don't have the normal sequence of events. There's always something going on that surprises me, and that's a good thing and a bad thing all at once. It's everything all at once. And I know that's just how life is, but it can still be difficult, if you had a plan for your life. Because at some point I did have that plan to go to drama school, go through whatever I need to go through in there, and then become an actor and go to a theater. That was my plan. It's not working out that way, like many other things. So, like I am kind of that person whose life is going in a very different direction than whatever that I had planned. And I need to find my own way with things. But obviously, going your own path, making your own way with things, means that there's very little guidance about like what you should do, or if you are doing well, or there are no signposts on that path, because you are the one making that path, if that makes sense. And even if you understand in your own head that it for some reason has to be that way, that you have to be that person, that this is what your life is, this is what this lifetime is, even if you understand that, that doesn't make it any easier to do. So you can see why that would introduce a lot of doubt and a lot of what is really going on here. Is anything going anywhere? Am I going the wrong way? There are no signposts. I don't know. So that's kind of the case with me in many things in life. So basically right now I think those are, I guess, the most potent limiting beliefs I have right now, and I want to repeat again. Belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. That's all it is. So we can change these beliefs. And normally, I wouldn't want to really like talk about this because I don't want to put words to a thing that I don't want to increase the momentum of. So like, I don't want more of these kinds of beliefs and evidence that this is what I think. I don't want more evidence of that in my life. So actually putting words to this is not always such a good idea. But the reason that I've done it right now is because I do think that there's a lot of people out there who can relate to this and who have similar limiting beliefs about things. It doesn't have to be about acting. You know, this I didn't just talk about in terms of acting in this video. This is just like what I think this is just what life is, and this is what it means to be a human. At any point in time, you have, beliefs that are helping you and beliefs that are not helping you. So I think a lot of people can relate to this. And it's not easy. It's not easy being human and having all of this stuff, this stuff going on in your head at all times. And it's not easy being an actor. And you doubt it all the fucking time. Because, I mean, you might look at me and be like, if you're familiar with anything that I've done in the past, you might be like, what are you talking about? Like, you did this thing and that was really great, and you did this thing and that was really impressive, and whatever. But I still have doubts, even though I've done some cool things in the past, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to do that. And of course, as an actor, I hope for more things like that and bigger opportunities and all that. But, I'm just like everybody else. I still have doubts, and I still have bad days. Today is not really a bad day. Today is just, I wanted to get out here, talk about this authentically, because I think a lot of people are going through very similar things. We are all kind of in the same boat as humans. It's just a very human thing to have these sort of beliefs. And I think we all still want to keep going anyway. Or at least I think that's what we should do. Because, I mean, I've asked myself many times, like, there was an actor, I forget what her name was. She was in Game of Thrones. What is her name? I'm not going to say her name in case I say it wrong, but maybe you will know who I'm talking about. Anyway, she said, as an advice for anyone who wants to get into acting, you should probably ask yourself if this is what you really want to do, because this acting thing has a lot of highs and lows. It's a roller coaster. And basically anything else that you could do is probably easier than this. I think she's right. And I have asked myself that question many times. Is there anything else that I could do that's not this? That would be easier or align with me. And not really. Yeah, I've got no answer for you other than I just feel it is definitely one of the things that I'm meant to do, even if I'm meant to do it somehow differently, I guess. Because in my life, there's never been a thing that I've kind of been able to just understand the way that I understand this. Because, I've always struggled with connection in my life, and just connecting with people, and just struggled with understanding life as it is. And I never really had like a thing where I was like, oh, this makes sense to me. And then, the first time that I ever acted in something, which was a school play, And I had like I had just like 30 seconds in that school play, but it was enough for me to go, for me to have that realization that this is something I understand. I understand the rules of this world, even if I don't always understand the rules of this world. There was just something very understandable about acting, and it felt like I felt like myself doing it. And for the first time ever, I felt like I was connecting with people. Like I could actually connect with them, and they could actually see me. And, I wasn't being misunderstood or nothing. That was the first time that ever happened for me in my life. So, and I haven't had that with anything else. I do think, because I have a lot of this, I don't know if I want to call it like spiritual knowledge, but I don't know what else to call it. It's just stuff that I've been into since I was in my teens. And that is very much at the core of who I am. That's taken a really long time to accept as well. I'm still working on it now. Because it's the woo-woo stuff. And if you are woo-woo, it's very hard to be in this world because of how it all feels and how overwhelming it is, but also how other people view it. A lot of other people think that that's just crazy and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter the thoughts you think, and it doesn't matter the beliefs that you have, and things just happen to you. And I don't really buy into that in that kind of way. So I do think that that's probably another thing that's somewhere in my path, because it's just at the core of who I am. And it doesn't matter what I do. Even if I didn't do acting, I would still somehow incorporate the woo-woo stuff to it, because it's kind of how I make sense of the world. I'm not going to get into that more right now, because this video is already 37 minutes long. And I actually don't think I'm even going to edit this, because I do really just want to post it as is. But so it might just be, these two things, the woo-woo stuff in some kind of way, and the other is the acting stuff. These are the two things that like mainly make sense to me in this life. But if you're also someone who is kind of making your own way with things, or if you are someone whose life is not turning out the way that you expected or wanted or planned, and you are, I don't know, really lost and depressed, and you're basically grieving the life that you could have had, that you now can't have for whatever reason, then know that I have been there. And still am there in some ways, honestly. But I think we just have to keep going. And we're just going to have a different life than the one we expected to have. But that doesn't mean that this can't be a fulfilling and happy existence, I think we just have to tell ourselves that from time to time. Just remind ourselves that even though things are going differently than what we expected, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. That's honestly another belief that I have, but that's one of the helpful ones. So I'm glad that I have that one. But anyway, this was limiting beliefs and doubts as an actor and as a human being. Authentically, honestly, and in a real way, because I think that's what we need right now. We need authenticity more than anything else right now. So if you are still with me, even though it's been 40 minutes, can you believe that? I can't believe it. Then I'm glad and I'm really grateful, and I hope you got something out of this. Or you just had somebody to hang out with for 40 minutes. That's great too. Because, you know, a lot of people are very lonely out there as well. So I'm glad if I can, like, provide that for someone. Even just that can be helpful. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, and I really do hope that you have a good rest of your day or night or whatever time it is. And I will see you again any other time I post a video. Okay, bye-bye.